I'm going to be making an alligator etouffee. So this is alligator meat, and a lot of it comes from the tail, and I'm just going to basically cut it up into small pieces, bite-sized pieces, and we'll make the etouffee in just a minute. The big question is, what makes Cajun food Cajun? Well, first of all, Cajun and Creole uses the Holy Trinity. That's celery, onion, and green pepper. Basically, the difference between Creole and Cajun is that Cajun doesn't use tomatoes. With the etouffee, and with most Cajun cooking, the biggest thing that scares people is the roux. Now look, you just use equal amounts of oil and flour. So that's vegetable oil, 1/3 of a cup. And then here's 1/3 of a cup of flour. Now I'm just kind of spreading it around evenly. And we're going to stir it and stir it and stir it on a medium heat until it's the color we want. I'm going to go for a blonde to a red colored roux, and I'll show you what that looks like as we go along. All I'm doing is stirring it as it's coming up to temperature, trying to homogenize all of that flour into the oil, and it'll turn into a nutty flavored, very, very aromatic roux, and that's the basis for a lot of Cajun and Creole cooking. I guess I should have been more specific and say when you're making roux, you're pulling it away from the sides in the bottom of the pan, which is why I use the flat wooden spoon. And as you pull, you're going to see that there's got little bubbles. It's boiling. Basically, the oil and the flour mixture are coming together. So you already see how it's bubbling, and it's just going to get thicker and thicker and thicker. I'm pulling it across the pan. I'm really not stirring. All right, it's been 20 minutes. I've been constantly stirring. And you see that right there? I want it red, reddish orange, and kind of little clumps like peanut butter. So you see that peanut butter-like consistency, creamy peanut butter? Now, this has more liquid oil component than a traditional roux, but that's for a reason. So the reason is this. At this point, I'm going to add about a cup of onions. I'm going to add about a 1/2 cup of the celery. And I'm going to add a 1/2 cup of garden green peppers. And now I'm going to stir that together and saute it for about 5 minutes. And now look what happened. All of that roux got this nice flour coating all over those vegetables. And now I'm going to add, maybe a cup or 2 of chicken broth. And then I'm going to add oregano, fresh oregano from the garden. Okay, now all this is going to thicken up as it cooks. So that was probably about 2 or more cups of chicken broth. This is oregano right out of the garden. I'm going to bring all that up to a simmer, add a little bit of crushed black pepper, and the alligator is going to come in a little bit later. I'm also going to throw in a handful of these fresh bay leaves from my property. This is the red bay. Make sure you know what you're doing if you collect wild plants. Otherwise, just use commercially available bay leaves. And again, I'm bringing this to a simmer for my etouffee. This etouffee base has been simmering at a low boil, kind of a high simmer, low boil, for about 15 minutes. You can see how thick it's getting. It's time to introduce the alligator. Here's my alligator meat, cut up into small bite-sized pieces, and just add it in, stir it, and let it simmer until those alligator pieces are done. And here it is, the finished alligator etouffee. And let me tell you, it tastes really, really good.